At the beginning of the movie, we are shown a family quietly gathering necessary items from a store. They were so terrified that they weren't even speaking to each other, only communicating through hand gestures. What had happened that forced them to live in such silence? The couple's names are Lee and Evelyn, and their eldest daughter Regan is deaf by birth. They also have two sons, Marcus and Beau. Lee signals to everyone that evening is about to fall, so they must return home as soon as possible. Otherwise, their lives could be in danger. Suddenly, little Beau picks up a toy rocket. Seeing this, everyone freezes in fear because the rocket runs on batteries and could make noise. Lee quickly takes it from him, removes the batteries, and places them on the counter. But Beau insists on taking the rocket with him, so Regan quietly hands the toy back to him. While leaving, Beau also secretly takes the batteries. The family then walks home in a line. We see that the entire town has become deserted. There are no people, not even birds. A terrifying silence covers everything. Only a few humans have survived, and this family is one of them. They walk barefoot on sand paths, without shoes, to avoid making any sound. Little Beau happily walks behind Regan with his rocket. After a while, Beau inserts the batteries into the rocket and turns it on. The toy starts making loud sounds. Regan cannot hear, so she has no idea what just happened. But when the sound reaches Lee and Evelyn, they panic. Suddenly, from deep inside the woods, a horrifying monster begins rushing toward Beau at bullet-like speed. Lee runs desperately to turn off the toy, but it's too late. The monster grabs Beau and kills him instantly. Lee and Evelyn can do nothing but cry helplessly. A year passes. Lee's family has now learned how to survive in this silent world. Lee has built a research lab inside his house where he has gathered information about the monsters. We learn that these terrifying creatures are completely blind but have an extremely sharp sense of hearing. They can detect the slightest vibration in the air. Even breathing loudly could give away a person's location, leading to instant death. Their skin is tougher than steel, protecting them from bullets or weapons. These monsters arrived 90 days ago when a meteor crashed in New York. They spread rapidly across the world and wiped out humanity. The only way to survive was to remain completely silent. Lee's family understood this very well. He set up CCTV cameras around their house and marked certain areas on the floors and stairs where they could walk without making noise. He also built an underground bunker where he researched the creatures. He discovered that there were 3 monsters roaming in their area. He repeatedly broadcast radio signals for help, but so far, no one had responded. We also learned that Evelyn is pregnant and will soon give birth. Lee knows that when a baby is born, it will surely cry. So they built a soundproof box for the baby with an oxygen mask so they could hide the newborn safely without the monsters hearing its cries. Meanwhile, Regan's deafness puts her in even more danger. Lee works tirelessly to create a cochlear hearing amplifier for her. When he finally gives it to her, Regan is not happy because she believes it won't work, just like the previous ones he had made. But this time, it actually works. When she hears the sounds of the outside world, she breaks down emotionally because she still blames herself for Beau's death.
To help her father and prove herself, Regan goes to the underground bunker, but Lee stops her. He fears she might accidentally touch something like a microphone or a radio that could make noise and get them all killed. The next day, Lee takes Marcus to the river to catch fish. Regan wants to go too, but Lee refuses and asks her to stay home and take care of her pregnant mother. Feeling hurt, Regan packs some things and secretly leaves the house. She goes to Beau's grave and cries until she falls asleep there. On the other side, Evelyn was completely alone at home. After a while, she was carrying some clothes out of the basement when a nail sticking up on the stairs caught her dress and stood upright, but Evelyn didn't notice it. Meanwhile, Lee took Marcus near a waterfall. He explained to him that he could talk there because the sound of the waterfall would hide their voices, preventing the creatures from hearing them. The father and son sat near the water and began talking. Marcus asked his dad, "Do you blame Regan for Beau's death?" Lee replied that no one was at fault for what had happened. But Marcus told him that Regan still blamed herself. Back at home, Evelyn was also crying while looking at Beau's picture. Suddenly, her labor pains began. She hurried downstairs into the basement, but in her rush, she stepped directly on the nail. Evelyn writhed in pain, but didn't let a single sound escape her mouth. However, the picture frame in her hand fell and shattered loudly.
She quickly pulled her foot off the nail, limped downstairs, and flipped a switch that turned on the red warning lights outside the house. The noise from the frame had already alerted a monster, which reached the house. Seeing it, Evelyn froze in fear and hid silently in the basement. Meanwhile, Lee and Marcus were returning home when Lee noticed the red warning light glowing in the distance. He immediately understood that Evelyn was in danger. Inside the house, Evelyn trembled with fear while the creature searched every corner for her. She spotted a kitchen timer in the basement and set it for a few seconds. She placed it in one corner and hid in another. The monster sensed her movement and approached her, while her contractions grew stronger. Just then, the alarm began ringing and the creature ran toward it. Taking advantage of the moment, Evelyn tried to escape the basement, only to spot another creature. She quickly hid behind a wall. Lee and Marcus were watching everything from afar. Lee handed Marcus a flashlight and signaled him to ignite the flare rockets they had set up near the field. Marcus ran toward them as fast as he could. Evelyn climbed back upstairs and sat inside the bathtub, crying silently. She knew she wouldn't be able to hold back the baby for long. The monster, hearing her suppressed whimpers, came dangerously close to the bathroom. Evelyn accepted that she might not survive. Just then, Marcus lit the flare rockets, sending a loud explosion of sound and bright red light into the sky. Hearing it, the monster rushed away. At the same moment, Evelyn screamed in pain as she gave birth.
Seeing the flare in the sky, Regan quickly ran home. A little later, Lee arrived too. He saw blood drops on the stairs and followed the trail to the bathroom. The bathtub was covered in blood, and Lee assumed Evelyn had been killed. He sat down crying until he spotted her alive, holding their newborn baby. Overwhelmed with relief, Lee picked them up and carried them to the basement, where they had already prepared a soundproof box for the infant. But before they could fully close the basement door, the baby started crying. Hearing the sound, a creature lunged toward them. Lee rushed inside, blocked the door using a thick mattress, placed an oxygen mask on the baby, and shut him inside the box to silence the cries. Lee then told Evelyn that he had discovered the monster's weakness and would soon build a weapon to stop them. Around the same time, Regan saw a light glowing in the cornfield. She had no idea a monster was quietly following her footsteps. Just as the creature was about to attack her, Regan's hearing amplifier emitted a loud, high-frequency sound. The monster screamed and backed away in pain. When it ran off, the amplifier turned off again. Regan had no idea why the device behaved like that. She continued toward the light and saw it was coming from a flashlight. As she reached to pick it up, someone grabbed her hand. It was Marcus, who had been hiding. He told her through gestures that he had been watching her and that a monster was following her, but strangely ran away the moment it got close. Hearing this, Regan panicked, completely unaware she had been so close to danger. Back in the basement, Evelyn grew anxious for her children. Lee went outside to look for them and saw that the creature had left, but it had destroyed the house, breaking a pipe that was now flooding the basement. Lee didn't notice the water and rushed to find the kids. The children were hiding on top of a grain silo, where they had lit a fire so their father could spot them.
Evelyn awoke to the sound of running water. She saw the basement completely flooded. Then she noticed that the baby's box was open, and she couldn't hear him crying at all. As she approached, she saw a monster sitting beside the box. Evelyn trembled in terror. She feared the baby had been eaten. The box was far away, and she couldn't see inside. Gathering courage, she slowly stepped toward the box. The monster stepped into the water too. When she finally reached the box, she saw her baby alive inside it. Thankfully, the child hadn't cried, which saved his life. Holding the baby tightly, Evelyn stepped back silently into a corner, but the monster was now extremely close. If the baby made even the slightest sound, both mother and child would be killed instantly. On the other side, Regan and Marcus were tired of waiting for their dad. Regan had started to believe that her father was not going to come and save them. That's why she wanted to go home alone. But Marcus had complete faith in his dad. He kept trying to stop his sister. As Marcus stepped forward to stop Regan, suddenly the grain silo's door opened and he fell inside. While falling, Marcus screamed loudly. Hearing this sound, the monster, who was searching for Evelyn in the basement, immediately rushed toward the noise. Now Evelyn's life was saved, but Marcus's life was in danger. The grain-filled silo was no less than quicksand. Seeing Marcus sinking, Reagan broke the silo door and threw it inside, jumping in herself. She quickly grabbed Marcus's hand and pulled him out. Then both of them climbed on top of the door and sat there, but their movement was heard by the monster and it quickly moved toward the silo. Seeing the creature run there, Lee understood that the kids were near the grain silo. Reagan had saved Marcus's life, but the next moment, the monster jumped into the silo too. As it came toward them, Reagan's hearing device started producing sharp, piercing noises. Unable to tolerate the frequency, the monster ran away. Once again, Reagan and Marcus escaped death and came out of the silo. Outside, Lee was relieved to see both kids alive. On the other side, Evelyn was watching everything through the CCTV cameras. Just then, Lee realized that the monster was still nearby. He quickly sent both kids toward the truck and grabbed an axe to search around. But the creature was right above him. The monster attacked Lee and threw him far away. Seeing their father in pain, Marcus screamed. Hearing the sound, the creature turned toward Marcus and Reagan. But once again, Reagan's hearing device emitted those intense frequencies. The noise was unbearable for Reagan too, so she turned off the device and the monster immediately attacked the car.
Seeing his children in danger, Lee understood that he could never kill the monster in a fight. Now he saw only one option left. He signed to Reagan, telling her that he loved her more than anything. He never blamed her for Beau's death, and as long as he lived, nothing would harm her. After that, Lee screamed loudly. Hearing his voice, the monster ran toward him and killed him instantly. After killing Lee, the monster left. Evelyn watched all of this on the CCTV camera. Reagan drove the truck back home with her brother. Evelyn hugged her children tightly, relieved to see them safe. But suddenly, she noticed that the noise of the truck had attracted the monster again, and it came running toward the house. They quickly went inside. Marcus and Reagan also saw their baby brother. Reagan noticed how hard her father had worked to fix her hearing. A few moments later, the monster entered the house again. Evelyn pointed a shotgun at it, standing right in front of the creature. She knew bullets couldn't really harm it, but she was ready to do anything for her kids. As the monster moved closer, Reagan's hearing device once again emitted that sharp, high-pitched sound. The sound hurt Reagan, but the monster suffered even more. At that moment, Reagan understood the connection between the creature and the hearing device her father had made. She remembered her dad's research and realized that the high-frequency sound produced by her device was the monster's weakness. Every time the creature came close to her, the sound caused her pain and forced the monster to flee. Before the creature could kill them, Reagan increased the device's power even more. The sound grew sharper, causing extreme agony to the monster. But the amplified noise was hurting Reagan even more. Thinking smartly, she placed the hearing device near the microphone. The sound frequency blasted through the speakers, forcing the monster's armored head plates to open. The moment the armor opened, Evelyn fired directly into its mouth, blowing its head apart. The monster was finally dead. But the danger wasn't over yet. Hearing the gunshot, 2 more monsters in the area started approaching their house. Now Evelyn and Reagan both knew the creature's weakness. Reagan increased the microphone's volume, and Evelyn prepared to kill the next monsters. And with that, the story ends.